I actually was invited to give a lecture this weekend on ballistics and also on hatred for Acute EMS show. So that's why this lecture I put together. So hopefully it'll be as entertaining as Shara's lecture. So a couple disclosures. You guys all know that I work here. I don't get any money paid to me for any of the products I talk about in this lecture. I'm going to talk about a couple of small types, maybe some body agents, but I wouldn't say anything. So we're going to go through statistics and then talk a little about bullet construction and then how the bullets work. We'll look at bullets through ballistic gel, see what they do. We'll talk briefly about the guns to shoot them, and then what bullets do to your tissue, what bullets do to your body. And then important stuff to do is about documentation, if you want to document correctly. And then treatment is more for the EMS guys than you guys. You probably know all this already. There's nothing more exhilarating than being shot at without results. Now, I've never been shot at. I don't know if this is really true, but Mr. Turtle is a pretty experienced guy, but take it for what it's worth. There are 270 to 300 million guns in America. There are only 320 million people in America. So that's almost one gun per person. And I'm not trying to make this a political lesson. I just want you guys to know the numbers. Out of those, 60 million are handguns, right? These are the ones that we worry about. It is hard to walk around with a rifle or a shotgun in your pocket. Don't get me wrong, people in Brooklyn probably still do it, but it's harder to do. 13,000 plus deaths per year in 2015. That's almost 36 deaths a day in the guns. And that doesn't even include suicide. The numbers are only murders, they don't include suicide. And then 756 of them are children. These guys probably weren't carrying their own guns. So look at the bullets and how they're made. Alright, so what we call a bullet is just a projectile that comes out. But they actually come with something called a cartridge. The cartridge has a case that encloses the gunpowder, or explosive powder, is most of them on now. They have a primer in the bottom that serves a function to light off the gunpowder, and then the projectile at the top of the bullet. So here's what happens. You put a bullet in the case, and you crimp it. You make it really, really tight so it doesn't come out. The hammer strikes, the hammer has a firing pin and strikes the primer at the bottom, which lights off a spark. And that goes through the flash hole and lights off the explosive powder. That powder gets converted very, very rapidly into gas, which has a lot of pressure, and that ejects the bullet out of the gun. This is what it looks like. And I put this up there for a reason. It's important for you to see that the bullet comes out, but a lot of other stuff comes out too. Right? There's a flash, so there's burn, and also there's a lot of gunpowder traveling with the bullet. There's a lot of different types of bullets out there. We'll look at some of them. These ones on the left, these four, these are pistol bullets. They're a little bit smaller, a little bit less energy, while these ones on the right are rifle bullets. Right? That's 600 nitrous breath. That is one big bullet. That's an elephant gun bullet. The bullets are measured in hundredths of an inch. That's their caliber, or caliber is another name for width. Okay? So something like a 45 or a 38, that's 45 hundredths of an inch wide. 38 hundredths of an inch wide. They also measure millimeters. You can have a 7mm bullet, a 9mm bullet. So both are acceptable, both are found in the United States. Just so you know the difference, a 30 caliber bullet is 7.62 millimeters wide. So you can kind of compare different bullet sizes. And that big 45 there, that's the biggest pistol bullet they sell. And that's the one that has carries is still sort of loaded. So look at the energy that bullets get. Not really, actually. So these little pistol bullets, like the 25 auto and the 38, these have 35 grain weight, all right, 900 feet per second coming out of the muzzle. They're only 60 feet through, that's not that much. When you go down to the rifle bullets, all right, like the 30-06 and the 223, they're a little bit heavier, but have tremendous muzzle velocity. And remember, when that gas is produced, the gas accelerates the bullet behind it. The longer the barrel, the more acceleration the bullet gets. So that's how you make the bullet go faster. And then, of course, you have your 600 nitro, 900 grains, tremendous bullet, and a tremendous amount of energy, 7,000 joules. And of course, your 50 caliber machine gun, so wartime bullet, big bullet, tremendous muzzle velocity, tremendous amount of joules. And we'll talk about why the joules are important. Just some conversions for you to know. 0.608 grains is 1 gram. So we're looking at about a 44 Magnum bullet, right? That's 180 grains. That's 12 grams, or almost half an ounce. That's a pretty big bullet, it's pretty heavy. And if you look at speed, 1,000 feet per second, that's 682 miles per hour. So think about when you're driving in a car going 65 miles an hour, that's 95 feet per second. Just so you guys understand the conversion. So let's see how bullets are designed. And the first thing that's important to realize is They spend a lot of money designing bullets, so they do the same thing every single time. If you shoot 12 bullets of the same box into ballistic shell, they'll end up looking the same every time. Because you want the bullet to act the same every time you shoot it. So here's a bullet that changes conformation when it hits something. It flies through the air nice and skinny, nice and aerodynamic, so it doesn't lose speed, and it hits what you want it to hit. But when it gets to the body, if it has a little profile, it's going to make a little hole. If you can make the profile larger, it makes a bigger hole. So one of the ways to do that is to make a combination bullet with like copper and lead. So this bullet is copper at the bottom, filled with lead, and then the top of it has very, very thin copper shell. So when the bullet hits you, the lead kind of expands, the copper shell is thin to repair, and it mushrooms out to form a much bigger hole. This bullet gets really, really wide. You can imagine the amount of damage this bullet does. It opens up and tears through everything. Then you can make it wide and sharp. You can do a tremendous amount of damage, right? These are Talons, what we call shredders, right? These bullets, when they go through you, they come out in this flower-shaped pattern, and no matter what they touch, no matter what they hit, they rip through it and tear it. So you can imagine getting your liver, a vessel, anything it goes through can cause more bleeding and cause more damage. So bullet design is important. If you have hollow tips, they're more likely to open up and spread out, as opposed to just a simple lead bullet, which is going to stay in one piece and go through you as a solid bullet. Ideally, what you want to do is make a bullet that has a hole where it hits your body, so you can bleed into that hole. And the way you do that is by making it fragments, right? You can make the bullet fall apart when it hits you. It goes in all different directions, makes a big, huge hole. You bleed into that hole, and you won't stop bleeding until you snap it on and pop. So if you make a big hole, and the bullet fragments will go in different directions, you're going to bleed out before you do the same. Here's a little information about the bullet speeds, okay? These are the same bullet being shot at a different size rifle with different amount of powder behind it, right? So this bullet is at 1,500 feet per second, and it stays pretty much intact. It's not until you get above 2,000 feet per second they start to break up. You can get up to 2,500 feet per second, they fall into many pieces. But once you get up to about 3,000 feet per second, they go into many, many little pieces. Right? So everything, when it goes through your body, it has a higher chance of hitting something if it's going in multiple directions. So it hits a fourth organ, like your IBC, or your liver, as opposed to one single bullet that makes a single track to you, holding it against what it hits and doesn't get out. No, in air they don't change conformation. So they haven't finished and haven't changed size. The small one hits your skin, hits your clothing. They're built to change configuration upon contact. This is how you can aim the thing. So weight retention is an important concept because the more weight a bullet has, the deeper it will go through you. But the more fragmentation it has, the more it will cause a big cavity. So what you want to do ideally is make a smooth design. Make the jacket separate off from the center of the bullet. Alright? So this bullet, when it hits you, the whole back part in here stays intact. You've got a lot of retention, so it goes through you. But then all the top is nice soft lead, and this part comes out, then that makes a large cavity in the front and hits a bunch of different things. This is a good bullet for injury. So fast. Rifle guns shoot farther, faster than handguns do. Remember that it's the amount of duration in the barrel that will accelerate the bullets down the barrel so they go much quicker. Hunting rifles shoot a little faster than an assault rifle, but it doesn't really matter. You're either dead or really dead. The thing about assault rifles is they can shoot bullets very, very fast. They're automatic or semi-automatic. They can shoot much quicker. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Elephants are definitely not safe. I've got an accident cycle. It's a huge bullet. And much depends on the design of the bullet and what it does inside you when it comes down to the body. So how do bullets do their work? Well, to start off, every gun, every pistol or rifle has rifling in the barrel. And rifling, what it does is it's a groove that are cut in a spiral shape. What that does is it gets the bullet moving in a spiral form. So the bullet is spinning. This way it doesn't change direction, and it hits what you want it to hit. They don't drill neatly through you though. When they hit, they open up and they change configuration. They go into many pieces, and they go into different directions. They bounce as well. Remember that energy and matter is never created or destroyed. So when you have a bullet moving at a certain velocity, they have a certain amount of kinetic energy. If you can get that bullet to stop inside the body, the whole entire kinetic energy is converted into damage. And that's ideally what you want a bullet to do, because the energy has to go somewhere. So bullets transferring energy to the body, that's what causes damage, alright? And that's measured in joules or 4 pounds like you saw before. So what happens with the engine? What is the mechanism that causes the stop? Well, we said before they want to stop in the body. That study is called terminal ballistics, and that's what I read about when I was doing this study. On impact, they change, and they make a much bigger hole. You don't want that little hole in you, you want a big hole. You cut more things, you focus on things, and there's a bigger cavity that's leading to. Energy is caused by donating energy, and the bullet is slowed by friction. Additionally, when a bullet goes through you, it's going to push all the tissue out of the way. The tissue that's right in front of the bullet, that's going to be destroyed. That's the primary cavity. But additionally, all the tissue next to it is going to be thrown out sideways. And that's going to be your secondary cavity. We'll look at that in a second. Alright, don't forget too that bullets can deflect. They can yaw and pitch. So, when it goes through you, again, it causes crushing and tearing. That's your primary cavity and destroys it. But then it also cleans the other stuff out. The temporary cavity only lasts 5 to 10 milliseconds. That's 5/1000th of a second. It's very, very, very brief. Depending on the tissue it goes through, it's going to depend on how much damage it is. If you have a nice, soft, stretchy tissue like lungs or muscle, it's going to throw the tissues out to the side, they're going to stretch and recoil back and come back. But if you have something like liver or bone, it's going to throw tissues out to the side and it's just going to destroy the tissue. It's not stretchy at all. So this is a much more effective thing to hit for a bullet to do damage. So here's a primary cavity. This bullet was not in ballistic gel. And you can see that over here there's a little bit of fragmentation, probably from the clothing that was in front of it. And then over here it got a little bit wider too. This is probably when the bullet tumbled. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But it goes in, you can see it stopped down here at the end. So the whole amount of energy that the bullet had when it got to you just donated to the ballistic gel. Alright, let's go back to the video slide. So here's a bullet hitting ballistic gel in slow motion. And you can see that the primary cavity was small compared to the secondary cavity. It's throwing the gel all the way out to the side. Additionally, it's coming back together, and you're going to see it smash into itself and cause a little explosion inside. Right there. Imagine this happening inside your tissue. Alright, this is what causes all the damage. The little primary cavity is not that big a deal. In order to cause a secondary cavity, though, you need a lot of speed. And usually only rifle bullets will cause a secondary cavity. Alright, this is why when you shot with a pistol bullet, it's probably better for us doctors. You don't see very many rifle injuries. But being shot with a pistol bullet, it doesn't cause a secondary cavity that long. So if people who have a pistol bullet go through them, the primary cavity, if it didn't kill you, is probably not going to cause a blast injury and a secondary cavity. So we're kind of lucky about it. It's just the tissue smacking into each other and causing friction. A little bit of terminology. When the bullet's flying, it tends to roll, which is around the central axis. Yaw is from left to right, and pitch is up and down. Alright? So bullets, depending on which direction they hit you, and if they're not dead center, they're going to do one of these things. Alright? But when bullets roll and yaw, they tend to spiral, which is what makes them stay on track before they hit the bottom. Alright? That's how bullets are so accurate. Here's the bullet going through the body. Alright? It hits dead center. And forms a nice primary cavity and secondary cavity. But then it starts to roll. And you'll notice that the secondary cavity is way bigger when the bullet is off center. Because the amount of space of the bullet that's pushing through the tissue is tremendous when it's not straight. So it's making a much bigger secondary cavity. Notice too that the time it finishes its roll and gets to the other side, the cavity is full again. And then over here where it's slowed down and not that fast, there's no secondary cavity at all. Alright, so again, we're both tumble. The secondary cavity is way, way bigger. It's important on the face side of the bullet pushing through the tissue that's going to make that secondary cavity. Alright, again, that's a slow down picture. The cavity is way, way huge, way bigger than the primary little center cavity. Talk about guns just a little bit. Alright, handguns can be either automatics or revolvers. Rifles can be either hunting rifles or assault rifles. We'll talk about shotguns just briefly, not that much. Here's a typical semi-automatic pistol. Right? These are pretty good guns. They want to look at guns being good, but they're effective because they can shoot bullets rather rapidly. What happens is when the bullet's shot out, there's an equal opposite force pushing backwards. It pushes the top, the slide of the gun backwards, that recops the hammer and sets it for the next shot. Right? So you can shoot very quickly. Every time you pull the trigger, you'll shoot another bullet because it reloads itself. Kind of a good invention. As opposed to the automatic pistol, this has no cap. So when the slide comes backwards, the hammer doesn't even get caught, it just shoots forward again and shoots out another bullet. So you keep shooting until you either let go of the trigger or you run out of bullets. Revolvers, these only hold 6 bullets and they're much slower to load, so they've really fallen out of favor. They only use them when you hold wet. Remember, when you have a gun with a clip in the bottom or a magazine, you can hold 8, 10, 12 bullets. Hunting rifles have a bolt on the top that's signal action. You have to pull the bolt up, pull it backwards to the top, push it forward to put the bullet in the chamber, and pull it back down. You only shoot 1 bullet at a time. As opposed to the assault rifle, you shoot much, much quicker. Because you have this extension on top, this little tube that goes back to the hammer. What happens is, if the bolt's coming out, the gas gets diverted into the tube, and it pushes the hammer backwards. And then set for another shot, so it's very, very quick. And of course, you have your shotgun. You shoot a different kind of bullet. You shoot shot, which are pellets, and they can be either lead or steel. So we look at the shotgun shell. They have similar construction. They have your primer, a lot of gunpowder, but then they have wadding in the bottom. So wadding is either fabric or paper, and it's to propel all the little shots quickly, as opposed to letting the gas go around the shot. Right? Sometimes you can have shotgun shells with a slug in it instead of shot, which is actually a very, very large bullet. But because rifles don't have, because shotguns don't have rifling, you have to put rifling on the slug to make it spin. That's how you get actual shot. So if you look at different bullets through ballistic gel, a 9mm will show a small primary cavity, small secondary cavity. A .30 carbine is a much bigger gun with a longer barrel, a rifle, has a much bigger secondary cavity. This is a high speed or a high velocity gun. Huge second cavity because the bullet breaks up. Here are your shotguns with shells going in multiple directions, and of course your 30 Winchester, which is a very, very fast moving bullet, very large secondary cavity. Alright? We'll talk a little about shotguns and the choke. The choke is the tip of the gun that makes the shot stay together. So if you have a simple cylinder, when the shot comes out, it's going to spread apart right away. And in order to get 40 inches of spread, you only have to shoot something 25 yards away. As opposed to if you put an improved choke or a modified choke on it, or even a full choke, these will keep the shells or the shot much closer together. You keep them in a group much farther away from the barrel of the gun. So it's not until 40 yards out that you get a 40-inch spread. As opposed to here with no choke, you only get 25 yards before they spread apart. So think about that when it's hitting your patient. Right? If you shoot them from close range, all your shot is concentrated in one spot. The farther away you go, the farther apart the shot is spread. And if you're really far away, only a few of the shot will hit you. So a lot of the energy delivered by the gunpowder is wasted. I don't think they lose that much power, that much speed by wind resistance. It's not that much. So if they hit you, they hit you. The problem is that a lot of the shots won't hit you when you're farther away because they spread out and go around you. So the amount of energy delivered by the gunpowder is not delivered to your body because it hits your body. Alright, let's get the entry pattern. Entries are usually small rounds, usually, and I said that for a reason. Right? Exits are usually stealthy. The only time you can prove a person is an entrant when they have powder burn. Right? Remember in that first picture you saw the powder flies with the bullet. When it's closed up, the powder will burn the body when it hits you. But if you're wearing clothing, that won't happen, so it's important to save their clothing so the police can look at it. Additionally, if the gun is right up against the skin, it may cause an abrasion ring on the skin. These are the only times you can say it's definitely intentional. You don't want to say it if you don't know. Alright? These are what contact wounds look like. The barrel of the gun actually burns the skin because it gets so hot. These are some typical exits. Alright? Oval one and a stellate one. These are usually what they look at. But here's what they look at when you're not following the rules, alright? If the bullet doesn't tumble and doesn't jar or pitch, it just comes out straight, or it does a one full tumble and comes out backwards, it's still going to make a little tiny wound. It's not going to make a big, huge wound. So you really can't tell. Right? Additionally, you can have entrance wounds that are huge, especially if the barrel of the gun is right up against your skin. All that gas that comes out with it will blow the wound open and make a huge stellate laceration, even though it's. So we already talked about both through gel, let's talk about through live tissue. So here's a 38 volt that gets into steak. Now steak is really not that compliant, it's not live muscle, it doesn't stretch very well. So you can see that little tiny 38 caliber bullet, 38 with much of an inch, made a huge hole in the steak. right? Because that secondary blast cavity threw everything to the side, but then it just didn't recoil back. This one you can see is probably an in and out wound, right? One here, one here. But look at the size of that secondary blast cavity, right? Tremendous amount of injury caused with that little tiny skinny bullet. This is probably also a 38, small hole, but a lot of injury around it. Notice too the angle of this bullet, right? These two guys are actually arguing, and the drug dealer went bad. And when he pulled out his gun, he couldn't even get the shot off. He shot the guy in the foot. So here's a military type weapon, right? This is a military picture. In here, out here. But look at the amount of blast cavity that's caused. Tremendous wound. So the bullets are moving so much faster. Head injuries are notoriously bad. Remember, the skull is a box. Alright? You have a couple things in the box. You have brain, you have CSF, and you have blood and blood vessels. You now add something in there, like you disrupt the vessel, or you disrupt the brain and cause it to bleed. Now there's more things in the box, pressure goes up. If you cause edema in the box, pressure goes up even more, something's got to come out. And usually what happens is you have brain oozing out the hole because the pressure has gone up. Alright, again, shot on this side, the bullet fragments, you can see the lead fragment, goes through the brain tissue, leaving a trail of blood. It comes out the other side, blows out the skull on the other side, and more fragments all over the place. Remember, air is black on CT, so black density inside the skull, air inside the skull, usually bad for your well-being. If the secondary blast cavity is near the skull, you can actually blow the whole entire top of the skull off and blow the skull. So here's an injury to the lung. Right? Lung is very compliant, very stretchy tissue. So you have your single hole, which is made by a 45, which is a large hole, but then you only have a small blast cavity around it. This lung is so stretchy and so resilient, it goes out into the back pretty well. How would you guys think this guy's life is squeezed that out of this hole? When you do your thoracotomy, force the lung, cause lung poison. It may end up losing his lungs if you force something, but at least he won't bleed to death, it won't lose all his blood onto the tissue or the C1-4. Here's a gunshot to the liver, right? Liver is a very architecturally designed tissue that's very solid and not stretchy. You can see where the bullet hit it, and it causes big stellate fluid, right, in the left lobe. Notice too that the liver is outside the body. That's usually a bad prognosticator. Gunshot to the heart. This is a very close-range injury, right? You can see that there's actually powder burn on the heart, so it was put right up against the skin, right? I put this in here because this is a nice thoracotomy, right? Beautifully caused pericardium, diaphragm is here, and it's done nicely, but of course the case expires, as you can imagine. Once you have a hole in the heart, it's really bad. Once the pump is damaged, it doesn't pump very well anymore. This is actually a cop who got shot. Him and his partner were trying to take out somebody, and the guy had a gun. He was on the floor, so he stepped on the guy's hand, but unfortunately the guy pulled the trigger while he stepped on his hand. And it went straight across to his other foot, and took out all the bones in his foot. But you can see how resilient the bones are. They don't stretch and come back. They just shatter. Turn to one. Here in the tibia, right? There's a gunshot to the hard bone. It just fragments. It falls. Right? This is the only time you really do get lead toxicity from bullets. Right? It's really important to understand. When a bullet is in the joint, for some reason the joint fluid is able to leach out lead. So if a person has a bullet any place in their body, you can just leave it there. Except if it's inside a joint. If it's in a joint, you're going to leach lead, they're going to get real lead toxicity. You have to go and pull it out. You have to pull it out. It doesn't happen instantly. You have a couple days to weeks, but you still have to pull the bullet out of the joint. So ortho has to see the patient, even though there's no real injury, except for the bullet in there, ortho has to see it. This what I put in looks like a bullet, right? It's not a bullet. You guys see the spring attached to a D-cell battery on a nice motor with a spindle and a weight. The weight is a little bit off center, so it vibrates a lot. Ingenious construction. So when you guys are documenting, you want to watch what you write. You always want to write 2 gunshots on the chest, 1 on the back. Right? You would never write 2 entries on the chest, exit on the back, because you don't know if it happened like that. You're not sure. If the guy was actually shot in the back and the person being tried for it is standing on the other side, you can ruin somebody's case, all right? And somebody's free, somebody that's guilty can go free, somebody that's innocent can be put in jail because of what you wrote if you wrote it wrong. Right? Never ever speculate. But it's not a laceration, it really is a gunshot. You know, you could say circular wounds if you want, but you can usually tell it's a gunshot. If you can't tell, you can't tell. So, something for you guys to learn, guns do not hold fingerprints well. And I'm not saying that the gun makers did this on purpose, but it's just a fact. However, casings do. So bullet casings are nice and flat, they're made of brass, and they hold fingerprints really well. So if you find them on a person's clothing or inside their clothing, don't touch them. Put a clamp or a pen inside it and pull it out, and don't get your fingerprints on it because you want to give it to the police. Additionally, all bullets have unique markings on them called rifles. Right? Or called rifle is what causes the marking. Right? So when the bullet goes into the chamber, it can be misaligned. And every gun aligns differently. You can really tell which gun shot a bullet by examining it under a microscope. So you don't want to scratch the bullet off, you don't want to get your fingerprints on it, you want to give it to the police as evidence. Right? Think about secondary projectiles too. If the bullet hit a concrete wall next to a person or hit their clothing, it may drag those projectiles into them. So those are not sterile, you have to worry about that, right? And then definitely don't wash the shooter's hands, because police will do tests to see if they shot a gun recently, and they'll come out on the hands. You don't want to wash that off, it's really bad. So when you guys do this physical exam, it's really important to count all your holes, right? You want to do a good vascular and sensory exam, so it's going to disrupt the nerves. And then you want to x-ray all the areas that were involved, right? Remember that bullet plus holes is always even number. This is a really important fact. If you look at this case, this guy has 2 gunshots to his neck, right? But when we filmed him, we only had 1 bullet on the film. So 2 holes and 1 bullet, that's only 3, that's an odd number. Now you gotta get suspicious to go under. When you shoot chest x-ray, it shows nothing. But when you shoot the belly film, you find that second bullet. So 2 bullets, 2 holes, even number, you're satisfied. So probably you got hit in the neck, it hit one of his vertebrae and stopped in the esophagus, and it went down into the stomach. Here's where you're not obeying the rules, alright? This guy was carrying a 9mm in his pocket and accidentally pulled the trigger while he was fumbling with it, right? Bullet wound right down the side of his leg. And you don't know if it's in or out, you don't have any idea, so I want to film the leg anyway. But once you don't see a bullet inside, you're pretty sure that it's just a grazing. Right? If you think about when it's going to hit, connect dots. There's just 1 hole here, 1 hole here, and no other holes in the body. Chances are it's in and out, and it's pretty much done. You just film it. Yeah, but that's the chance. This one's a little harder to figure out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 holes. Plus 1 on the arm is 9 holes. So it's really hard to tell what's in, what's out, and what the bullet is. When you do your trauma workup, you have a lot more investigating. This one, the bullet hit him in the feet in the front, went through his neck, and part of it came out the back. So you may suspect that it's on this trajectory that's going to have injury. However, you find the bullet fragment down here. So it's not always a simple connect the dots in and out. You have to be a little bit more investigative. And then, of course, once the bullet hits up in the fragment, then you really can't tell what it is. You can't tell at all. So you have to start doing angiograms and figure out what the actual is. So for your workup, you always want to do your ABCs, go bleeding. You supplicate them as needed. Give them tetanus, give them antibiotics. Remember those secondary missiles, the bricks, the clothing. That stuff dragged into your body. That's not sterile. Right? Angiogram for anything near a vessel, and you really should be giving PSA in a rush hour. Acute medicine, it works, it's actually positive, but you want to use it. This is actually a well done compression. We'll see a bad one in a second, but nice and focal over the hole, stops the bleeding. If you can't control it with simple pressure, you may want to go to a tourniquet. Just look at vascular injuries just quickly. This is what vascular injuries end up looking like. This is old C1, you guys don't know. This is a picture of a guy shot in the chest. He put out like 3 liters out of his chest. The boy went to go up. Here's the wrong way to do it. Alright, this person's pants are still on. They have a big, huge dressing, and you're putting a wide amount of pressure on. What you really need to do is to seal up that hole so blood doesn't come out. Because if you can leave blood in the track, it's going to stay there and clot, and it's going to stop more blood from coming out. So ideally what you want to do is cut off the clothing, expose the hole, get a couple gauze, fold it up nice and small, and put it right over the hole with 2 fingers of pressure. Stop the hole from bleeding. You don't need to hold pressure on a big, huge, wide circle. Because I see a lot of people bleed nervous. Right? How many times do you see these guys come in on a stretcher and have like 17 gauze wrapped by a gauze, like a bandage, and nothing else holding pressure? Right? That's not effective at stopping the hole. Clot enhancers we sometimes use. They're hard to get, but I've seen big clot around. Right? Sit-ups also, the powder to dump in the wound. These are more likely used in the military. And of course they have these injectors. Again, I don't get any money from these guys. These are the ones that I've seen used in the past. And then when you want to shoot an angiogram, you're looking for the vessel that's going to be injured. So here you have your popliteal vessel coming down, and you guys all know it's bifurcated, right? Here's one, here's two, but here it just stops. Alright? That's a cutoff as a sign that the vessel is being disrupted and then clotted. You can see the bullet passing right underneath that one. If you're going to open up these wounds like our surgeons do, you want to gain access to the site of bleeding, right? So you want to find the hole. But then, of course, you got to get proximal and distal control. Remember that no large vessel and no artery has valve. So even if you clamp proximal to an artery and distal to a vein, it's not going to stop the bleeding. So you're going to have back bleeding going through the vessel. You've got to get a clamp on it both in front of and behind the wound in order to stop the bleeding. Then you can have to that well. Alright, so let's review. The cartridge is the case, plus the primer, plus the powder, plus the bullet. Kinetic energy is mv squared over 2. Velocity is double the poison as weight. Rifles shoot faster than handguns, so they cause more damage. So they have that higher velocity. Kinetic energy leads to damage. You have your primary cavity caused by the bullet going through a ripping, and your secondary cavity caused by stretching the tissue. Stretching tissues do better than non-compliant tissues like bone or liver. That's why lungs is not going to be quite as much. Treatment, do your ABCs, control your bleeding, and definitive care. Guys, any questions?